it's Amaje back here with another video. Today we're about to be reacting to WWE heel turns that were justified. There is a lot of stuff that was just justified for like heels to turn to what they were. I remember that one Becky Lynch segment because back when I think I already exposed everything of how my feelings felt when that Charlotte Flair video. But Charlotte Flair was just getting pushed after push after push, and she was supposed to be the good guy, and Becky Lynch ended up turning heel. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna mention that in here.
WWE heel turns that were actually justified. Number 10, Becky Lynch. WWE's grand idea for the Becky Lynch vs Charlotte Flair feud in 2018 was to have Lynch as the heel, but the issue here was that Lynch, despite being a heel, had every right to be furious with her former best friend. Initially, the match set for SummerSlam in 2018 was Lynch vs Carmella for the SmackDown Women's title. However, Flair was inserted into the match, and this naturally caused a rift. In the match itself, Lynch was seconds away from winning the title before Flair decided.
See what I mean? Basically ruining her moment, bro. I know they did that to play it, but like I felt like that was the most annoying thing. I felt it's just years and years that they're just like fucking chucking her in the main events. Like just because it's a good feud with a whole bunch of women doesn't mean Charlotte Flair has to be added to it. They could build her with something else, bro. They could have did that, but like they didn't. They just let her steal Becky's moment. So I'm glad she smacked her in the back when she came back.
To take advantage and win the match herself. Lynch snapped after the match and she received a thunderous pop as her actions were somewhat warranted. WWE tried to get the fans to boo Lynch, but the more promos Lynch cut, the more her motivations made sense, and eventually after a few months, Lynch became arguably the most over name in the entire company. Number 9, The Rock. If the fans are literally chanting for a wrestler to die, then maybe, just maybe, that wrestler is justified in turning against them. This was the case with The Rock, as the fans didn't just resent him as a babyface in 1997, they loathed him and decided to greet him with chants of "Die Rocky Die." The Rock would join forces with the Nation of Domination, and his first promo as a heel explained that it was all about respect, and the fans had shown him nothing but hate and disdain. During his heel
Okay, I get it's one thing to hate a wrestler and everything, but Shannon die, Rocky die is just still crazy to me. And no matter how much I hear it, it's still like crazy. I don't get why some people hatred go that far. Be passionate, be as passionate as you want to be about wrestling, but telling somebody to die just because you're unsatisfied is crazy.
run, The Rock's work was so incredible that it managed to turn the fans into The Rock's favor. And just a few years later, the Great One would be one of the most popular babyface acts in all of pro wrestling. Number 8, Stephanie McMahon. The billion-dollar princess Stephanie McMahon had a rough end to the 90s. McMahon was abducted and held hostage by The Undertaker, and it was even revealed that her own father Vince McMahon was behind the whole
Fucking segment was so stupid. When they tell me the story about how Vince McMahon did all this shit, I call it so stupid and I see through all of it. It was just so retarded. Yeah, he's right. Stephanie McMahon did go through a lot. She almost got sacrificed.
ordeal in order to gain leverage over his nemesis Stone Cold Steve Austin. In late 1999, Triple H would enter into a feud with Mr. McMahon, and Stephanie would be right in the middle of the bad blood. In a shocking twist, Stephanie would side with Triple H at the 1999 Armageddon pay-per-view, and it would transpire that her and the game had been plotting to take over WWE. On the Raw following the heel turn, Stephanie explained to her father that this was all his own doing, as he had put her in danger for his own gain and he never showed any remorse. Now, Stephanie had every right to take revenge on her father, and that ultimately made her, at least first, the hero in this Attitude Era storyline, and her heel turn totally justified. Number 7, Bret Hart. Turning Bret Hart heel in 1997 was a huge.
Yeah, that was totally justified, and because you already know, Mr. McMahon's like always a natural heel. I can't get used to it. I was never used to him turning face when he was there. He could get cheers and everything because they missed him, but being a fucking face was not it.
brisk. Hart had been a top babyface for years in WWE, yet as the company began to push towards an edgier product, the fans slowly began to turn against the
Ew.
babyface persona that Hart was presenting. The heel turn officially went down at WrestleMania 13 as the crowd decided that Stone Cold Steve Austin was their new babyface, and Hart was a casualty of this new fan allegiance. Hart decided to turn verbally against the fans, and Hart was justified for this, as Austin had been making his life hell, so why on earth would his fanbase decide that Austin was in the right and Hart was suddenly the bad guy? Now this heel turn could have flopped, but thankfully Hart delivered one of the most underrated heel runs of all time. He was a credible heel, and everything he said had weight and justification. Number 6. Chris Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho was in a weird place in the first half of 2008. Jericho returned in 2007 as a babyface, yet something was missing from his presentation and character. Jericho would be inserted into a feud with Shawn Michaels and Batista, and despite HBK basically tricking the fans and the roster into thinking he was legitimately injured, the majority still supported HBK's questionable actions. When it was uncovered that he had been gaslighting everyone, Jericho was devastated. Jericho turned this disappointment into physical anger, as HBK would become his mortal enemy, and what followed was a complete career and character transformation for the first ever undisputed champion. Jericho would begin to cut slow, intricate promos, and he would even wear a dark suit to showcase that the Jericho of old was no more, and this was a new version of Jericho that we're all witnessing. Number 5. CM.
I'm not gonna lie. I fucked with this version of Jericho, but he fucking annoyed me. That was the point. He did his job. He fucking annoyed me back in like 20 no, that was 2010, 2009 to 2010. He was annoying back then, bro.
Punk. The fans of CM Punk in 2012 were incredibly critical of his booking, and rightly so. Punk was the reigning WWE champion, yet he would often play second fiddle to John Cena, which completely devalued Punk on what was supposed to be the top prize in WWE. Punk would never main event pay-per-views, and WWE would always favor Cena over Punk. This even occurred when Punk vs Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit show couldn't main event over a Raw-worthy Cena vs John Laurinaitis matchup.
Oh my god, yeah. This takes the cake right here. This was so annoying. Punk was on fire back in 2011 and 2012, bro. They decided to let John Cena take over that. Don't get me wrong, I was a huge Cena fan too, but it's just something about CM Punk back then, had that little rebel streak and he was still a babyface. It was literally so cool to see that. But this nigga John Cena literally should have turned heel right there, because this nigga fucking took his main event, took his main event after main event, just to face The Rock, just to face to face The Rock for a second time actually, and taking over I think the WWE Championship, where that's supposed to be presented in the main event. That's fucking wild.
In the summer of 2012, specifically Raw's 1000th episode, Punk decided that now was the time to take center stage. He'd lay out The Rock on Raw, and his justification was that he wasn't being respected by the company, and it was hard to disagree. Punk and Cena would then rekindle their feud, and as always, the two created utter magic and produced some of the most celebrated matches of the respective era. Number 4. Bayley. Bayley's main roster run didn't get off to the best of starts. In 2019, it was decided that now it was a time to try Bayley as a heel. This was a long time coming, and it was badly needed to save Bayley's run on the main roster. Bayley would justify the heel
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, without that babyface turn, she'd have probably flopped and just became a memory in the past.
turn by saying that she was simply siding with her best friend Sasha Banks, and this was an interesting approach to take with a heel turn, as both characters were wrestlers who felt justified by their actions. Additionally, a babyface that fans are actively turning against usually have a solid reason for changing their attitude towards the audience, and this was most definitely the case here. Number 3. Lita. Now in 2005, WWE decided to take Lita's character in a brand new direction. Lita would join forces with Edge, and together the two would run rampant over the Raw brand. To get to this angle, WWE would have Lita turn heel, and this meant that she was going to have to turn on her demented husband Kane. Although Kane had done a number of illegal and disgusting things to Lita in 2005, they were somehow on good terms, and it was almost as if Lita had forgiven all the sinister acts. However, when Lita cost Kane's match against Edge, it was revealed that Lita was waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
God.
WWE tried to paint Lita as the villain in the story, but it really didn't work. Lita managed to get extremely over as a heel, but this was mainly down to a real-life affair with Edge, as Lita would cheat on Matt Hardy, and when this became public knowledge, Lita became public enemy number 1.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. People still talk about that little 2006 thing to this day, even though everybody and all parties has moved on already. I don't hate anybody for that shit. It happened. It happened. It's life. But like to try to paint her as like a heel when Kane was like the most demented ass dude ever. Hell nah, bro. Stop playing
Number
WWE.
2, Kevin Owens. One of the key elements of the Triple H era is to focus on continuity, and this was seen with Kevin Owens as Owens decided to turn on Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes due to their positive relationship with the Bloodline. Owens would point out that the Bloodline had tried to end his career for years, and now that his good friends were siding with them, he saw this as a true spit in the face. Owens was spot on with this character motivation, and it would have made zero sense for Owens to simply continue as a beloved babyface despite notable side characters not sharing the same morals. WWE handled the Owens heel turn to perfection, as the babyface characters such as Rhodes were able to logically justify when they decide to side with the Bloodline, and this allowed the fans to decide who was right with their reasoning, which was always a good place to be in terms of wrestling storytelling. And number 1, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. They were on point with Kevin Owens. He like you said, it did not make no sense that he was like still partnering with Cody Rhodes after after what the Bloodline did to Cody Rhodes and him. This is just crazy. Roman Reigns tried to hit this nigga with a damn golf cart. And he told Sami Zayn to hit him in the head with a fucking chair. Luckily he didn't do it, but nigga, how do you forget that? They ruined so many of his championships. They made him lose to Roman so many times.
Drew McIntyre's gradual drift into one of WWE's top heels has been an absolute joy to watch. McIntyre's character work has been exceptional, and the best thing about the character work is that it's always been embedded with logic and continuity. McIntyre took issue with the WWE locker room, accepting Jey Uso with open arms. Main event Jey had caused havoc with the Bloodline for years, yet the babyface side of the locker room had just moved on as if nothing had happened. Everything that McIntyre was saying had a ton of weight, and even the most casual fan could understand why McIntyre was slowly turning to the dark side. This continued into subsequent feuds with Seth Rollins and even CM Punk, as McIntyre's motivations were always based in established continuity, and this was a significant factor in McIntyre's character getting over to the extent it has over the past few years. But there you have it, folks. 10
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad they doing something with Drew and making his character great in what it is right now. If he's not gonna be champion, at least give him some good booking, and that's what they have been doing. I know he's been losing a lot, but like he's been picking up a lot of wins too. Like I said, it would not make no sense. Him and Kevin Owens in the same boat. It didn't make no sense for him to like be friends with Jey Uso, and then Jey Uso was whooping his ass along with Jimmy and Roman, bro. That ain't gonna happen. But if you guys want to see more WWE videos and you want to suggest videos, go in the comments. Um, but we are on the road to 200 subs. Leave a sub, and I'll catch you guys later.